Few authors in modern literature have been adapted to the screen as often as Stephen King. From Carrie and The Shining to It and Misery, his stories have fueled decades of film and television projects, creating a cinematic genre unto themselves. Say the words, a Stephen King adaptation, and audiences immediately anticipate haunted towns, damaged characters, dark secrets, and monsters both human and supernatural. Yet, despite the countless adaptations churned out across the years, one story remains conspicuously absent from Hollywood's catalog, an omission that feels stranger still given that King himself has described it as his personal favorite among his short stories. The tale is Survivor Type, first published in 1982 within King's collection Skeleton Crew. Over 4 decades later, it remains unadapted, aside from a single animated segment for Shudder's Creep Show, largely because of its shocking, transgressive subject matter. The story's power lies in its rawness, and that is precisely what has kept filmmakers at bay. The horror of survival turned inward. Survivor Type unfolds through diary entries written by Richard Pine, a disgraced surgeon stranded on a deserted island after a drug smuggling job goes wrong. Isolated and starving, Pine documents his increasingly desperate attempts to stay alive. At first, he scavenges, improvises, and clings to reason. But when injury leaves him with a badly infected foot, he amputates it and makes the horrific decision not to let the flesh go to waste. From there, Pine spirals into madness and self-destruction, methodically amputating and consuming parts of his own body as his sanity unravels. What makes the story unforgettable is its claustrophobic point of view. There are no cutaways, no alternate perspectives, just Pine's words steadily degrading as his mind slips. King forces readers into the most intimate and grotesque act of survival imaginable. Why Survivor Type is so difficult to adapt. King has never shied away from disturbing content, but Survivor Type is arguably his most extreme work. Even many of his devoted fans admit they skip the story during rereads because of its intensity. Cannibalism has always been one of horror's most difficult taboos, but King doesn't use it metaphorically or decoratively. He presents it with unflinching precision. This makes the story nearly unfilmable. From a production standpoint, it's a one-man show with almost no dialogue, a single location, and a narrative that revolves entirely around physical mutilation. To present it faithfully would mean creating a film that is unrelenting, grotesque, and utterly isolating. Even in today's era of bold streaming content, studios would struggle to market such material without accusations of crossing into exploitation. Films like Julia Ducournau's Raw, 2016, or Luca Guadagnino's Bones and All, 2022, have explored cannibalism with metaphorical or art house framing, but Survivor Type offers no such buffer. It's too blunt, too grotesque, and perhaps too real. King's unfilmable stories haven't always stayed that way. What makes the absence of Survivor Type all the more intriguing is that King's so-called unfilmable works have been adapted before. Gerald's Game, 2017, set almost entirely in one room with a woman handcuffed to a bed, was once considered impossible to translate for film until Mike Flanagan found creative ways to externalize the characters' internal struggles. Likewise, 1922, 2017, managed to take a bleak novella and craft a compelling Netflix feature. Even It, with its controversial and deeply polarizing material in the novel, has been adapted multiple times by sidestepping its most extreme elements. Hollywood has shown it can reshape King's darkest work into something cinematic, even if it requires compromise. That's why the absence of Survivor Type stands out so strongly. It feels like one of the last truly forbidden pieces in King's body of work. Some stories may be too raw to leave the page. King's legacy is defined by his willingness to confront the grotesque aspects of human existence head-on. Survivor Type embodies that ethos more than almost any of his other stories. By stripping away supernatural elements and comforting allegories, King forces readers to grapple with the most disturbing version of human survival. And maybe that's the point. Perhaps Survivor Type remains so haunting precisely because it has never been adapted. By living only on the page, it continues to gnaw at the imagination, unsoftened by actors, camera cuts, or special effects. Some horrors work best in the dark corners of the mind, and this may be one that's never meant to leave them.